Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Aryna Sabalenka versus Marketa Vondrousova for the second round of the Cincinnati Masters. The head-to-head is 4-all in this rivalry. And before we do get into it, remember to that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Shout out to our members as well. Okay, there's a lot to dissect here. We have to take into account, of course, the conditions and the courts. And the fact that Vondrousova, look, I mean, the head-to-head on hardcourt is 3-2 in favor of Sabalenka. Vondrousova has beaten Sabalenka the last two times they've played. It hasn't been on hardcourt, just to give a bit of context. Vondrousova also played a match, and has played a match before going into this showdown with Sabalenka. Beat Christian 6-3, 6-1. Pretty impressive performance, 6 aces. 85% of points won off her first serve as well. So not too bad. Not too bad. For Sabalenka, she didn't play the National Bank Open, opted to have a rest. She comes into this fresh, but also, of course, she needs to find form pretty quickly against an opponent that she has historically had struggles with. Vondrousova was okay at the National Bank Open, beat Ayala in the first round, decent win. Kostyuk lost in 3 sets, took the first set there, probably a bit disappointed. Historically speaking, Vondrousova's favourite surface has been hardcourt until she made the Wimbledon final and won it. And she actually thought she'd never be good on clay or grass from memory and from what she has talked about in the past, especially grass, I think it is. So she's made a final of Roland Garros and she has obviously won Wimbledon. She's just missing a US Open, Australian Open title or final to add to the collection. But look, I mean, she has a game that is very frustrating for Sabalenka, because she plays with a lot of variety, a lot of high balls into the backhand wing or backhand side into the ad corner. A lot of variety on the forehands, the loopy forehand. She can slice and dice it. She can go slightly flatter. And really, though, her whole game is built around enforcing and inducing errors from the opponent. And that is by playing very smart and calculated tennis to make the opponent feel uncomfortable and feel like they are having to really work hard for each and every single point. And Sabalenka, like we saw against Coco Gauff at the French Open, when Coco played a similar style because of bad conditions, etc., and also that is part of her game, she got very frustrated and she overhit and made some unforced errors that we would not normally expect of her. And that is definitely something that Vondrousova brings out of Sabalenka. Not to say to necessarily that degree, but it is definitely a factor in these matches. In saying that, I think the fact that it's on hardcourt is actually a plus for Sabalenka, because she is a lot more trusting of the hard courts in terms of movement, in terms of trusting the bounce. And we know that she is extremely comfortable on this surface more than any other. All her Grand Slams that she's won so far have been on a hard court. So, the question is, in these conditions, in these fast conditions, and it seems faster than even last year, does Sabalenka find her form quickly? Because the issue she's going to have, and if I'm being honest, this is actually arguably one of the worst matchups she could have, given she has missed the National Bank Open. This is the worst comeback match she could have on hard court in these fast conditions with the regular duty balls since Wimbledon, because she would have, I imagine, wanted time to feel the ball and think, okay, if she has someone who puts a bit more pace on the ball comes through the court more, she wouldn't feel like she has to generate as much power. She could utilize that pace a little bit and kind of almost just hit through it, and it's a lot easier. But actually, with Vondrousova, she's going to have to produce a lot of her own power, which we know she has in abundance, but can she control it with the balls, with the conditions? We know that more likely than not she will at some point during the swing, but can she do it straight away and quick enough to get the win against Vondrousova and play a good enough level to get the win against Vondrousova? That to me is a massive factor in this match. If she is able to get to grips with the condition and the surface and her opponent, then we look at the dynamic, right? And I think Sabalenka's backhand is more consistent than her forehand. It's more solid than her forehand. Vondrousova will go into that wing a lot, but I think Sabalenka is able to change direction well. She should be able to rush Vondrousova and make her move around and feel uncomfortable. She's now adopted the drop shot as well, which I think is a really good addition to her game. And I think that's a very useful tool against players like Vondrousova. Her net game as well is coming along, and on her serve, she's having the yips less and less and less. Less double faults are occurring. The one thing I will say though is that, yes, we've seen less double faults, but I've also noticed less aces generally. Probably means she's hitting bigger targets, and I can probably attest to that as I watched her live at Wimbledon. And that's fine. I guess she's happy to win the point on the Hunter +1 or +2, even +3 shot, and potentially get an error from the opponent. I just do wonder whether there is an in-between where not in between, but is there an even better balance to be struck where maybe she's not hitting as many aces as she used to, but at least, let's say before she was hitting, this is just a ballpark number, 8 aces per match, which is still quite a lot. Let's say 8 aces and she was hitting 5 double faults each match, right? So 8 aces, 5 double faults. Now I think she's hitting 1 or 2 aces a match and maybe 1 double fault, let's say, right? Just off the top of my head. Could she get to a level where she is hitting, say, 5 aces and maybe 2 double faults a match max? That to me is what I would say is the sweet spot, because I feel like there is a little bit almost left in the tank on her serve at times during some matches, and I feel like, I'm not saying that she needs to be going for aces, but I do think she can go slightly closer to the lines. No one's asking her to paint the lines, but I do think at times she can be a little bit safe on her serve. And it might be to do with the fact that she is worried about double faults, or she just wants to hit bigger targets because she's more confident and she is a lot more solid and very, very good behind her serve on that +1 forehand or backhand. Maybe. The other thing I want to talk about is the second serve of Vondrousova. Sabalenka is extremely aggressive on returns, and she will be an attempt to be against Vondrousova. Vondrousova, if memory serves me correctly, hits a slice second serve. I don't think that's going to be very effective, if I'm being honest. Potentially from, obviously, the ad side, she can drag her out on the backhand enough. But I think Sabalenka needs to be smart, because if she just goes hard cross court all the time, Vondrousova will just eat up and go forehand into the open court. And Sabalenka has improved her movement a lot. It's still not an elite type of movement in the same bracket as a Swiatek or a Goff. So something for her to bear in mind. She's better off going hard and deep down the middle. And if she can go line, great. But we know that's a bit of a risky return in that specific play. Okay, so in terms of predictions, I'm going to go with Sabalenka. I think she'll find her feet quick enough. I think she'll figure out Vondrousova. I don't think Vondrousova's playing lights out tennis right now. So I think, yes, it's not a good matchup. Yes, she could lose. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think she seems like she's in good spirits after the break, maybe well needed. She's been playing some really good tennis all year, and she doesn't tend to lose first matches or matches in the first week very often. She hasn't lost a match in the first week of a slam for a number of years. And in Masters 1000 tournaments, is also very rare. So I'm going to go Sabalenka, but in 3 hard-fought sets. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.